I'm Bad Karma Drone, aka Dronus. Join me today as I do a live stream, Satisfactory, Chillin Buildin. Just kind of hanging out, not really doing anything, too much anything right now. Just running around, checking everything out. I haven't been on this particular game save for a while. And for those that don't know, the Satisfactory, they've saved the way, or they've changed the way your save games work. Now your save games actually save to the cloud as a backup, and I was going through the 3 or 4 different saved games that I run through and saving them to the cloud, just loading them and resaving them. And I haven't been on this particular save game for a while, and just thought I'd run a stream and check it out for a little bit. Almost forgotten how this one looked. So, just gonna hang out for a while and do this. We'll get a little bit of background music going here. Hold on just a second.
You like to play your own game. Cover it up, don't let them know what you're thinking. I bet you never tell them how it feels. I bet you never even try to be real. Cover it up, you like to play your own game. Cover it up, don't let them know what you're thinking. I bet you never tell them how it feels. I bet you never even try to be real. Okay, I bet you never even try to be okay. I bet you never even try to be okay. I bet you never even try to be okay. I bet you never even try to be okay. I bet you never even try to be okay. I bet you never even try to be okay. I bet you never even
Looks like we're going to have to go back and get those crystal oscillators. So I can get that computer. That hard drive, rather. Go back to the base and get those crystal oscillators and come right back. So, how many ways can you screw up and get stuck on a one-lane bridge? Quite a few. Jesus Christ. Developers made this buggy, they made it very, very unstable. Of course, it's very fast and climbs up damn near anything, but it is incredibly unstable. Especially on, it does better on dirt surfaces, but you put it on some kind of a platform surface and it's slippery. Which is just the opposite of what I would imagine it would be. What do I know? I don't own a buggy. Go back up there. Get that hard drive. And come back and do research on the whole right on the ball. Rock. Mud puddle. Radiation. Huh? anyone wondering why I didn't do a train out here, because I wanted a steady, constant flow of material. And the train, while it does hold large volumes, it's not a continuous, non-stop flow of resource material. So the only, in my opinion, the only real way to do this and keep your factory going at maximum proficiency is to have continuous supply, non-stop. And so that's why the very long conveyor belts. Thankfully, they don't use electricity, so I'm safe that nonsense. Now that I said that, watch coffee stain requires that electricity. It would be my life. Okay. You're back. Crystal oscillator. You're supposed to open. Needs 15. I gotta run like 50 out to it? Really? Oh, the battery is broken. I guess they want me to get a battery. Well, the factory isn't set up to make those, so probably we could go back and just handcraft them. But I want that hard drive in there, so let's go see what we gotta do to manufacture a battery. I'm sure it's gonna require all kinds of supplies I don't have. See, I think I have a workstation. Yeah, I think I might have a workstation up here. Let me go up here and see if it's still here. I might have took it down. Nope, it's still here. Let's see what it's going to cost us to make a battery. Sulfur. Okay, plastic. So we're definitely going to have to go back to the base. Okay. All right. Probably should have read that before I left. Probably gonna save another trip. But that's alright. Like Star Trek when Insurrection, I think it was. No, it was Nemesis. Star Trek Nemesis when Data said he never understood why humans felt the need to pilot vehicles at unsafe velocities. Ouch. Alright, let's see if I can do this and not get screwed up again. Can't believe that. lot of suspension movement in the wheel. See, if that thing would have landed and stopped upside down, then I'd have had to go back to the bedroom, wake the wife up, make her come out and push it over. I'll tell you what we'll do. When we get back to the base, we'll go ahead and throw this one hard drive we've got in the system there and let it start to analyze it while we figure out what we're going to do next. I really don't feel like running back out there. It's just too much repetitive stuff. Gotta do something about this. What do we do for 10 minutes? Well, there's nothing to blow up. Sky elevator's all done with. Finished installing the lettuce. So I'm not real sure just what we do. We could fix this, extend it out there to where it's a smoother transition. build a ramp going this way? I think we could. If we really wanted to, I think we could build that.
You like to play your own game. Cover it up, don't let them know what you're thinking. I bet you never tell them how it feels. I bet you never even try to reveal. Cover it up, you like to play your own game. Cover it up, don't let them know what you're thinking. I bet you never tell them how it feels. I bet you never even try to reveal. Okay, I bet you never even try to reveal. Okay, I bet you never even try to reveal. Okay, I bet you never even try to reveal.
Wednesday's game. A lot of the stuff I don't even remember coming. Project at the moment, so let's check it out. I'm gonna stop the background music here for a minute. Kind of wanted to express an opinion about something that's been in the gaming news lately. Blizzard Activision, or Blizzard, a subsidiary of Activision, or I should say Blizzard owned by Activision, recently has just really gone out of their way to make themselves look like a gigantic asshole with a debacle with Hong Kong. And I did a video on this and posted on YouTube. Goodness, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. One of the things I had stated on that video was that I felt that that with the upcoming BlizzCon, that there was little way that Blizzard could do any real serious damage control. We got less than a minute, so we'll just sit here and wait on this. But there was no way that Blizzard could do any serious damage control between now and November 1st. You know, we've got slightly less than 3 weeks left, I think, and it's going to be a gigantic shit show, to be honest with you. I don't know how how Blizzard during the BlizzCon is going to have a Q&A session and the Hong Kong China issue not come up. I can't see how they could possibly avoid that. And because it's being televised live, you can purchase e-tickets to it and watch the event live. Ooh, let's see what we've got here. Alternate computer. Could expand the slot. What's the difference between an expanded pocket dimension and an inflated pocket dimension? Anybody know? If you do, type it in the comments. Or in the chat, rather. But anyway, back to Blizzard's bullshit. So they got BlizzCon coming up, and there's no way that they're going to have a Q&A session and have these topics come up. There are protests being planned by multiple organizations. Peaceful protests, mind you. Peaceful. But they're planning these. So there's... I'm going to go with the computer. So there's no way to actually... There's no way Blizzard's going to avoid this shit show. They're going to get hammered by this, and the people protesting are going to protest at the convention center, outside the convention center, and they've got a lot of support worldwide. A lot of people are supporting and backing Hong Kong's freedom and their move towards a democratic society as opposed to a authoritarian regime type of setup, to where you have a social credit score which determines, pretty much like the most of the free world has some kind of financial credit score. They've got a social credit score that can, if you do or say the wrong thing, can wind up costing you your job, home, your family can wind up being blacklisted. You can be blacklisted. I mean, it's That's how they keep their people in line over there, keep them from speaking out and acting out. You know, they suppress everything so that everybody marches single file to the same tune. Regardless to anything. So, but that's how that works. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. There's no way Blizzard is going to, and I don't see how they still have BlizzCon. I don't see how they continue to have BlizzCon and this not be a problem for them. You know, granted, I don't know how. You know, I don't know how you don't. Somebody could wear a T-shirt that says "Free Hong Kong" or something like that. And what's Blizzard going to do? Throw them out because they're wearing that T-shirt? You know, ask them not to wear it, make them turn it inside out or something. You know, and if you have a Q&A session, you can't have a Q&A session because, you know, we've seen how that ended last year. You know, with the is this not an April Fool's joke and stuff like that. Out of season April Fool's joke, but. How do you, if you're Blizzard, how do you have this event in the tradition that Blizzard has had this event and it not wind up being a shit show? I just don't see that. I can't in my mind fathom how this works. So anyway, the beginning of next month is going to be a stellar month. I mean, it's going to be the best drama anywhere. I mean, you can cancel your paid TV subscriptions and just tune in to YouTube and Twitch Mix or whatever, and just watch the shit show that's going to be Blizzard. That's going to be talked about for months, if not years, following. I think, personally, the only way they save any face in this right now is to cancel it. Cancel BlizzCon for this year. Probably citing some bullshit like security reasons. They've had a unspecified threat or something like that. Some horse shit like that. And just go ahead and cancel BlizzCon. I see that's the only way that they keep China out of this conversation. And Hong Kong out of this conversation. And the double standard that they've applied between the American collegiate team and Blitzchung from Hong Kong, how they don't explain that, or forced to explain the differences there. I think the only way that ends up happening is if they just cancel it. Say, hey, we've had security threats, blah blah blah, whatever, and we're canceling BlizzCon for this year. That would be the only way. It'd be the only way, because you can't. This is America. You cannot tell people they can't talk about something. That'll make them just do it more. You will incite a riot that way. And to a small extent, I believe that's pretty much what Blizzard's done. If Blizzard's intentions were to quell this and calm the minds and get past this, they released a half. What I don't want to call it half-ass statement. It's not a half-ass statement. It's a statement, but it's just full of lies about the treatment of Blitzchung and his suspension reductions. They did reduce his suspension from 12 months to 6. Gave him his winnings, which was trivial because there were people there were different gaming organizations that were willing to pay him what his lost wages and invite him to other tournaments for other games, other that were not Blizzard related or under Blizzard's control. With substantially huge, bigger purses. Instead of $10,000 purse, it was like a $500,000 purse. So, yeah, there's really no way. I mean, no way at all that Blizzard looks good in this. And their people, even Blizzard's employees, are staging protests. and just it's turned into a big thing. So Blizzard's idea behind this, excuse me, is to they posted their redaction, their whatever the hell you want to call that thing, their statement that they had where they reduced the fines and stuff. They posted it on a Friday PM after the stock markets closed because they didn't want that to be affected. I'm not sure that it would have, because I don't think the stock market cares what Blizzard's doing. But I could also see, if I was Blizzard, how I would want to cover that base anyway. I mean, you know, if you've screwed up this much and you're worried about the ramifications, yeah, this is definitely what you do. So, I don't know. I just don't know how Blizzard gets out of this intact. I really don't. I don't understand how they managed not to face the consequences for this at some point. People have boycotted Blizzard. Personally, I have uninstalled all of Blizzard/Activision games I had on my gaming and streaming PCs. I no longer play their stuff. I have even canceled my, I've applied to cancel my Battle.net account. It is currently in the process of being done. I've got an email yesterday saying it may take a few days, but that I had to actually send them photo proof that I'm me. Of course, I didn't need photo proof to buy anything, which is amazing. I didn't need to when they wanted my credit card number to buy something from their stores, their eShop, I didn't have to have photo proof for that, but they made me show photo proof to terminate my account. Yeah, so that was okay. I did it. I went ahead and sent them the proof, and I'm just waiting now. It should be a day or two, and they close my account out. I'm done with them. I would have thought, seriously, I would have thought that after last year's screw up, yet they would have learned something about dealing with customer base, that they wouldn't constantly try this, or wouldn't have tried it again less than a year after what happened at BlizzCon last year. Maybe wait 4 or 5 years or something, give people a chance to forget what happened. Have some good years, where we've got positive things coming out of the company and not all negative. But man, I'm serious, they just let the negative fly. So I'm done with them. I'm absolutely done with them. I don't know how else to deal with Blizzard. I don't want them controlling me or my streaming channel or anything like that. So I'm done with them. I have in the past streamed games like Diablo 3, mostly from the Nintendo Switch, but from things like that, and I'll leave those up there because I do enjoy going back and looking at them from time to time. But I'm not going to stream anything else from them. I'm done with them. If they go back out later on and correct this action, and after I've seen that it's not just all talk, that they've legitimately have changed, then I might come back to them. But I don't see that. I really don't see how I get there from here. I think it's going to be a long time before I trust them again. I think that's probably true for a lot of people. A lot of people are really disgusted with Blizzard right now. So, And it's a shame because, I mean, Hong Kong, they're fighting for democracy. They're fighting for freedom of speech. They're fighting to live the life that most of us take for granted. You know, they're fighting to live free from oppression and to be able to speak their mind and openly choose a religion and express themselves in an open way. And most things, you know, those things that most of us take for granted and don't even think about, and that's all they can think about, and that's all they're, you know, they're fighting almost a civil war there. It's kind of like a bloody battle going on, and blood is being shed on both sides of this fence, from the protesters and the police are all shedding blood. I mean, it's this isn't the kind thing that's going on. It's like a war zone. People are getting shot and killed and beaten, bloody, and both sides of that, both protesters and the police. So I don't know why Blizzard decided that they needed to stick their nose in the middle of that. They're a gaming company. They should be doing games. That's all they should be focused on. They should leave politics way out of this. And I know part of the price of doing business in China is how you deal with them. But you don't bend the knee. You don't bend the knee to China. And here's the thing. Most people see this in a short-sighted point of view. They say, well, if you don't bend the knee to China, then you don't sell your games in China. Okay. There may be some truth to that. But let's look at it in a different point of view. If these software companies get together and band together and say, we're not bending the knee, you will not tell us, you know, we won't do this. If all of them do that, if all of them unite in solidarity and take a single stance, what happens? Well, if China wants games for their mobile phones, they want something to do while they're on the potty, or while they're on the train, or while they're waiting for health care, or whatever they do in their daily lives. You know, if they want any form of entertainment, then they're going to have to give somewhere. So, you know, they're the ones going to suffer. Yes, the gaming market will take a small hit. It'll take a hit. But in the long run, isn't that the best thing to do? Isn't that the right thing to do? You know? So, we'll see. We'll see how this ends. I got a feeling it's going to be a decades-long process for Hong Kong to get its freedom. And you know, it may be that it never happens. It may be that Hong Kong never gets its freedom. You know, or Taiwan. But as long as those people are willing to fight for their independence and fight to be free and have freedom of speech, as long as they're willing to do that, then software companies need to stay the hell out of it and make software, you know, games. They don't need to be sticking their nose up there. They really, really, really don't. You know, and if China demands the knee be bent, you'll see how China likes not having games or entertainment. Because see, here's the thing about that. How do you quill the soul? You give it something to do. Okay? The last thing China wants right now, and I'm serious, the last thing China wants is a bunch of people sitting around thinking. Okay? That's why they give them entertainment. That's why there's movies. That's why there's, you know, games, mobile games and stuff, to keep their mind off of what's really going on. Okay? And if you let's look at it this way. If you were to stop watching TV, you know, if for some reason You know, you could no longer watch TV, or, you know, no longer play computer games, or, you know, your cell phone was literally that, just a phone. Remember those days? And didn't have games on it. You would sit around and think. And for a communist regime like China, independent thought is dangerous. That's the last thing they want. The absolute last thing they want is people thinking for themselves, and because that's not conducive to authoritarian regime like that. So, you know, this is in the software company's best interest to actually not bend the knee. If they're actually trying to help Taiwan and Hong Kong gain their independence, bending the knee is the last thing they want to do. Because the fewer games people over there have, yeah, the fewer money, you know, the less money that the software companies are gonna make today on microtransactions and the like. But the fewer options they have over there, the more in touch or in tune they are with what's going on in their own lives. They don't have that escape that video games and television and all that brings you. They don't have that escape. You know, they can't sit back and forget their troubles for half an hour while they're blowing shit up, and, you know, on their cell phone or whatever, you know, playing some you know, whatever, or playing Candy Crush or whatever they do. You know, if they can't do that, then they actually have to sit there and think about the situation that they're in and how they got there. That's not what China wants. That's the last thing China's going to want. So, you know, we're just Blizzard's just enabling this, you know, by bending the knee like they did this last week to China and you know, kissing their butt. It's just there's nothing good can come from that. Nothing. You know, the money that they're getting for doing that. Yeah, they're getting a little bit of money, and the shareholders, I'm sure, appreciate that, and probably couldn't care less who bent what knee. They want their money, and I get that. Everybody's got bills to pay and a life to live. But at the end of the day, you know, we're going to have to account for what we do and say somewhere, somehow. And that's not the way to be. You know, I really wish Blizzard wasn't doing that. I wish that they would have just stayed the hell out of it. I mean, I get that Blitzchung broke the rules. He should have been punished. You know, he deserves a punishment. He does. He deserves to you know, have sat out some kind of match or forfeit, you know, like 10% or 25% of his earnings, his purse for the prize, you know, as some kind of whatever. Made it a public apology for having used Blizzard's platform for his expressing of his thoughts, when there are so many private ones, you know, that they use over there. They have, you know, the equivalent of Twitter and Facebook and that kind of stuff over there. I don't know if they got like Facebook, but I know they got something equivalent to Twitter. I can't remember what it's called, but it's something. You got a different name for it, but it serves a similar purpose. And you know, those are the places where you put your kind of, you know, post your thoughts and stuff like that. Of course, you don't if you want a social credit score. But I mean, you know, if he's going to support Hong Kong in what he does, good for him. I mean, if he's willing to risk all that, and I'm glad he is, because somebody needs to, then I'm proud for him. But that wasn't the place to do that. Honestly, it really wasn't. And, you know, there should have been some kind of penalty for it, but the crushing overweight of how deep that was and how much that blizzard hit him with was just off the chain. You know, it was way overkill. So, I don't know. Like I say, BlizzCon this year, BlizzCon 2019 is going to be crazy. I don't know how they have this. I really don't know how they're going to do it. I'm sure that they're probably sitting back deep in headquarters there at Blizzard Activision, trying to figure out a way that they can do this. Because, you know, people bought tickets. People booked airline flights, hotel reservations. Sponsors have paid a lot of money to sponsor this. You know, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot of money floating around there. And how do you do that? I mean, Blizzard Activision is going to have to give a lot of that money back to people and the sponsors and everything. How do you, I mean, wow. Do you not have Q&A sessions? I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. You know, but that's always, those panels and Q&A sessions have always been a part of BlizzCon. I don't know how you don't do that and still call it a BlizzCon. You know, it's going to be a madness. It's going to be interesting to see. We're just going to ride around a little bit and see what else that there is to do out here. There really isn't too much. On this map, I want to completely redo it, and from the middle point there where all the storage units are, where on the right side of those storage units you have all the all the resource materials coming in and being stored, and then on the left side over there you have the product construction. And I need to redo this. When I originally did this floor area, the foundation was so much smaller, and now it's so much bigger, and the whole thing kind of needs to be moved to the right a lot, and it needs to be reworked and set up in a better way. I don't like doing vertical builds where you have multiple floors. I like seeing what the minimal that I can get away with in structuring and stuff. That's why I don't have an entire floor dedicated to like building computers or building motors or whatever. I just have just the bare minimum it takes, and try to make it more efficient. And of course, this is probably the most inefficient way of doing it right here. So all this needs to be redone. So then I'm kind of waiting to see what Coffee Stain, the company that made this game, I'm kind of waiting to see what comes out in their next update. See if they add anything new to the game. Because I think it would be neat if they added something else. You know, something new to build. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what they come up with. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see what they come up with. Okay. Well, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end it here for today. I'll probably come back to this particular game save and start working on it over the next week or so, tearing all this stuff down and rebuilding it with some more organization, because, man, it looks like a cluster, you know what. It is messed up. I to finish the build out on this foundation, get this foundation done all the way that way, because it needs to go more that way, and it needs to go more in that direction. So I'll probably, and that's the boring part. That's the part where you're just laying these concrete squares out, these deck squares, and that makes for a very boring stream to watch that. So I'll probably do that off stream, because it needs to continue going all the way across. So I'll do that, and we'll start working on this one and start the rebuild. I'll tear all this stuff down and start the rebuild, so that maybe by the time I get all this stuff rebuilt and done up the way I should have been done to begin with, maybe by then Coffee Stain will have some new stuff out there for us to build, and new resources or whatever, and we could pick it up from there. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and end the stream. Thank everybody for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please hit the like button, smash it for me, subscribe, and follow. Your support really helps the channel grow. If there's something you'd like to see in future episodes, drop a comment below. And remember, every voice matters.